This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Trouble, you're gonna see that your words are dangerous, your talk is cheap. So now I'm standing here, you tell yourself you know what to do when you realize that I am coming for you.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to another episode of Extreme Resurrection. I'm your host, James Gruenberg, along with Steve Riddle. Steve, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back here for another episode as we kind of bridge here between our two shows here between the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and that Royal Rumble will be in between shows at Madison Square Garden. If you recall, that was a most memorable Royal Rumble for a certain superstar, and the fans got a very, very good treat in that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably one of the most legit surprise returns in recent history.
Yeah, but tonight, Steve, we have what it seems like what direction we've been going. The writers have been going with in ECW is that tonight Chavo Guerrero will face CM Punk for the ECW title after this 3-week buildup of disqualification, one pin, and a count out too for CM Punk. We have what was actually a count out and a pin, and then the third time was the charm was Chavo getting the win with the spear from Edge. So Chavo Guerrero will face CM Punk here tonight for the ECW title as we are live at the University of Virginia. We have an over-the-top rope challenge here tonight, as it is Kane versus The Miz versus John Morrison versus Tommy Dreamer versus Shelton Benjamin. So I remember last time you were saying, well, there's not a whole lot of ECW representation except for Shelton Benjamin. And you are right, because Kane is not really a ECW competitor yet. He's goes back and forth between this and SmackDown. The Miz and John Morrison, they're the SmackDown tag team champions. So basically you have two representations of for two reps for ECW, and we'll get to more of them as we get into the second episode. For now, you have Tommy Dreamer and Shelton Benjamin in the Royal Rumble for ECW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Miz and Morrison are, they're technically ECW guys still, but yeah, as the SmackDown Tag Champions, they seem to be kind of, doing a lot more back and forth, like you said, like Kane's doing.
Also, we should mention that this is live in HD, so I believe we're done with the smaller stages of ECW, and they're getting this full new WWE big stage for the ECW shows here, and our theme music will be it until the end of ECW here as well.
Yeah, the small stage is gone. They're now using basically all three shows in essence have the same stage, just obviously the different graphics to let you know what show you're watching. Obviously. Yep.
Tommy and Shelton brawl. Miz and Morrison double team Kane. Kane throws Tommy off the top rope, so he's eliminated first. Inverted bulldog to Kane by Shelton. Big boot to the Miz by Kane. Sidewalk slam to Morrison. Kane throws both Miz and Morrison out of the ring, and then Shelton Benjamin. Actually, no, sorry. Kane clotheslines Morrison and Miz out, and then Shelton Benjamin gives a head scissors to eliminate Kane. So I went a star and a quarter, but Shelton Benjamin is the winner of this over the top rope challenge, and he had a clever way to eliminate Kane here.
Yeah, I went a star and a quarter as well. Kind of a quickie here with these 5 guys. I mean, only 3 minutes. Tommy gets eliminated pretty quickly, and then the heels just basically, attack Kane for the most part, and then Kane uses his power to get rid of Miz and Morrison. But then, Shelton skinning the cat in essence to get Kane over the top to win. I thought it was a fine win for Shelton. He's been, talking a lot over the last weeks about how he's going to win the Rumble and go on to WrestleMania. So it's, again, we've been high on him for the last, couple of episodes. So it's good to see him get a win here.
Yeah. Shelton Benjamin gets on the microphone and says he will win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania because nothing is stopping him except for the other 29 guys. Now we have an the ECW Best Body Contest, and is hosted by the coach, which makes Joey Styles and Taz jealous, as Joey's like, how did the coach get this job? So it's Layla versus Lena Yada versus Kelly Kelly. Layla goes first, dancing. She gets a nice reaction, and again, she has the best dance moves. Then Lena goes. Then Kelly goes. Kelly gets the loudest cheers, so she wins. Then Lena and Layla slam Kelly to the mat. So it's like Lena Yada and Lena Yada and Layla have formed a little alliance against Kelly Kelly. This was okay, but again, just progressing a storyline that seems to be going nowhere.
Yeah, kind of weird they brought Coach in to be the MC. But I mean, it could be worse. They could have brought King over, which would have, not been good. Joey had the great line. Who's palmed the Coach grease to get the gig? And then when he calls for the music to start, like, the girls are just standing there, and then Coach just kind of like starts dancing by himself, and it's like, and then they just kind of look at him, and he's like, "What, Layla? You're up. Go ahead." Like, I don't know if that was like a miscue or just or what, but yeah, all 3 obviously look very very incredible. Of course, Kelly wins the popular vote because she does. But then Layla and Lena beat her up afterwards. So yeah, this again, Kelly gets the short end of the stick here at the hands of Layla, and now I guess this, like you said, this new alliance here with Layla and Lena. Even though it seemed like the week ago Lena was going into business for herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll have to see if Lena Yada will step in the ring with Kelly as the weeks progress here for this little alliance here. Then we have a debut here tonight, as is the debut of Kofi Kingston. He's going to take on a jobber named David Owens. We've seen the Kofi Kingston vignettes, and now it is time for Kofi to show us his stuff. Is there going to be trouble in paradise? We'll find out. A takedown by Kofi, punches by Owens, a monkey flip by Kofi, leapfrog to Owens, flapjack by Kofi, a leg drop, and a buzzsaw kick to Owens for the win. So Kofi Kingston gets the win on his debut. I gave it a 1.5 stars. Incredible athleticism by Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, I only went 3/4 of a star. Yeah, well, first, let me. I'll explain why. So first off, Kofi gets no reaction by the crowd when he comes out. I don't know if it's just because they're not sure what to make of him yet. Like, if they don't know if they're supposed to cheer him or boo him, even though the vignettes have clearly been kind of steering him towards being a face. So that was kind of weird. And then this guy, I don't know where they pulled this guy Owens out, but he just wasn't that good, and he took way too much offense, I think, for Kofi. Considering this is Kofi's debut and you want to really showcase him, I feel like he didn't get as much offense as he should have. He does get some of like the spots in that we would come to know him for, like the leap in the corner where he like lands on the top rope and beats on the guy, but then he tries the monkey flip and the guy almost lands on his head. So that could have been disastrous. But then he, like you said, he then hits like his big, the shows off his aerial ability, and then we see his two signatures. Obviously, they're not named yet, but they of course would be the boom drop, and then as of course the future trouble in paradise. So it was a fun. Yeah, it was a fine win for Kofi. Obviously, you knew he was going to debut with a win. Again, I just think the opponent here was just was not the right guy for him to be with, and it just felt like the crowd wasn't really that as invested in it. And I'm really interested to see as we go through the weeks here, how soon it does take for them to get behind Kofi.
Yeah, my question is as well, was the what is it, SOS, I beat up I'm Your Champion or whatever it's called, like that was not his first theme song, I don't think. I thought it was gonna be a hard pill to swallow.
No,
if I'm not mistaken.
See, I don't remember. I think he always, because I watched both episodes, and he had his like the theme, the SOS theme right off the bat. He didn't have like all he didn't have like the pyro behind it and everything and that stuff, but he'd still he did have the theme.
Oh, okay, because I thought they just edited it because of like a copyright issue or something. Good, but I thought he had gonna be a hard pill to swallow first, and then they went to the SOS. But I don't know. But that was like, did he have this theme song from the get-go? But I guess so. So we'll see where Kofi Kingston goes as he debuts and picks up a win here. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. And now we have our Colin Delaney segment again, as Taz is in the ring. Colin Delaney. Taz shows highlights of Colin's matches. Colin says his mom doesn't even know where he is or that he's wrestling. And Taz is like, oh, well, I hope your mom doesn't watch this week because tonight you have the Great Khali. As the Great Khali comes out and he just starts chopping Colin and throwing him around, and then a vice grip by Khali. I gave it a dud.
Well, I gave it my standard Colin Delaney rating of 2.25 stars. Yeah, Colin didn't even respond when Taz asked him if his mother was watching. Colin didn't even respond. He just shook his head like he's been in so much pain he can't speak. And the tape just gets more tape on him. Like I said, he was pretty much, almost like becoming a mummy at this point. And then he finds out the Khali's coming out, and I think the look on his face, like he's just at this point resigned himself to the fate that he's gonna get his ass kicked every week. I love how when Khali gave him that first chop, Delaney didn't even do like a back bump. He just fell on his ass because he was just in so much pain. And then Khali gave him, that choke bomb, and then like you said, the vice grip to finish him off. So, another squash loss for Colin. And you do have to wonder though, because we seem to be running out of monsters to come out and squash him. So we'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, just wait until the next episode.
Yeah.
I should also mention, I forgot to mention this, that Edge was backstage pumping up Chavo for his match versus CM Punk tonight for the ECW title. Not only is he here, but Vicky Guerrero is here. And before we get to our main event already, because we're already there, we see that Armando Estrada, the ECW GM, is backstage with Edge, Chavo, and Vicky Guerrero discussing things. So we'll see how that plays out. As it is now time for our main event, it is CM Punk versus Chavo Guerrero for the ECW title. Edge comes out and is on commentary again. When CM Punk comes out, Tony Chimel announces that it is now a no disqualification match. Kind of like, not as much as an Impact as it was, but kind of like at WrestleMania 17 when Howard Finkel announced that The Rock versus Stone Cold was now a no disqualification match.
Yeah, I guess it was just to, you figured it was just because, the last 3 times they fought, they all ended in either count out or DQ. So you figure we're finally going to get a legit winner here. But also the fact that we saw Estrada meeting with them all backstage seems like, Estrada's trying to give Chavo a little edge.
Yep. Oh, well, there might be an edge in there. We'll see. Knees
no pun intended.
Yeah. Knees to Chavo, drop kick by Punk. Kicks to Chavo and a shoulder dive to the outside by Punk. Chavo goes into the steps. Punk is slammed into the steps. Baseball slide to Punk. Huge clothesline to Chavo. Chavo counters a bulldog, but Punk hits him with another one. Chavo counters a springboard elbow. The Three Amigos suplexes by Chavo. Chavo gets slammed into the turnbuckle. And then Punk gives Chavo the GTS. Edge comes in. He spears Punk, and Chavo covers Punk for the win. So we have a new ECW champion. That is Chavo Guerrero. So the no disqualification rule was in effect, and Edge helps Chavo by spearing Punk to become the ECW champion. This matchup, I gave it 2 stars. It was a very standard main event. Like nothing I don't think stood out except for the end when, of course, Edge spears Punk and Chavo wins. So we have a new ECW champion. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I went 2 stars as well. It was their, after a few weeks of them going like double digits in their matches, here they barely go 6.5. And they really didn't go lean heavy into the no DQ stuff. They did brawl aside. That suplex under the stairs was pretty nasty. And then, like you said, just kind of some basic back and forth. I mean, really, the only thing they did was the one point, like Chavo gets launched into an exposed turnbuckle, and then that leads to the GTS. But then, like you said, then Edge comes in and hits the spear, and then that's the end of it. I understand why they did this. They want to establish this new power faction over on SmackDown with Edge and Vicky, and the Edgeheads, and now Chavo. He's now ECW champion. Edge is the world champion. Vicky's in charge of SmackDown. And if you remember at this time, those they were all over SmackDown. I mean, they dominated airtime there. But it just felt like this really like if you want to have Chavo involved in the Familia, that was fine. But did he really need to be ECW champion? Like, I know we've been talking over the last couple of episodes that it seemed like Punk's reign has been on fumes because he didn't really have any challengers. But again, it's like there's just so many better options at that time on ECW that you could use instead of Chavo Guerrero, who just seems so ice cold at this point, and only because now he's involved with Edge and Vicky. Now he's just he was basically microwaved heat basically for this to just get him here and to get him the title. So again, it's tough because again you get the way they were going with it. It just made you feel like if you're gonna have Punk lose the title, he could have just lost it to somebody better.
Yeah, and that person would always be Shelton Benjamin.
Or even if not him, there's other guys you probably could have used as well.
I mean, do you think they could have given it? I don't think they would have given it back to Morrison. I mean, you could have even had just Tommy Dreamer beat him in a face versus face match.
Yeah, I mean, I do say that, but again, look at the roster. Like you said, we Morrison and Miz are kind of focused on their own thing with the tag titles. You have Elijah Burke, though. He's also become kind of ice cold.
Yeah, you had Mark. You have Mark Henry, I guess. Or I mean, go to
Big Daddy
V.
Big Daddy V. He's completely disappeared off the face of the earth for some reason.
And here's a spoiler: Burke's going to return. Could you have just pulled the trigger? You could have pulled the trigger on Elijah Burke when you had the chance to, but you messed that up.
Yeah, I mean, they were in a tough spot.
But again, it just adds more gold to the La Familia, as they say. And plus, Edge was in his feud with Rey Mysterio, as Vicky is like basically choosing Edge over Rey, and Rey wants to know why are you doing this? So yeah, Chavo Guerrero is now the ECW champion. It's not the best move, but now we'll see what if Punk gets a rematch versus Chavo here. Now we are on to ECW January 29th, 2008. We are just 2 days removed from the Royal Rumble, and John Cena comes back after being told he would be out for 6 to 8 months. He comes back in January after 3 months out of action. And he comes in at number 30 and wins the Royal Rumble. So he has the opportunity to face whichever championship he wants at WrestleMania. Again, the pop when his music hit, JR's reaction, it's 1 in a million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially in New York City, in Madison Square Garden, where, you never thought he would be cheered like that, but yeah, that pop when he comes out is just absolutely insane.
I had friends over, and I was actually like up a couple like double or nothing bets we were betting Philly cheesesteaks from the local deli. I bet that Ric Flair was going to beat MVP and that Edge was going to retain his title versus Rey Mysterio. And I was like, Triple H is coming at number 30 and win the Royal Rumble. He came in at 29 and he lost the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, he was the runner-up.
Yeah, no, I thought he was gonna win that one. Really, I was like, it's Triple H's time to win another Royal Rumble. So we are given highlights of the ECW title match last week, and then right off the bat, we have a great matchup here, as it is Kane versus Shelton Benjamin. Clothesline to Shelton. Shelton goes to the outside, leapfrog suplex to Kane off the top rope, off the top turnbuckle, kick to Kane's legs. Shelton slams Kane's leg into the post. Boston Crab to Kane. Clotheslines to Shelton. Power slam by Kane. Sidewalk slam to Shelton. Flying clothesline and a flying clothesline also by Kane. Spinning heel kick by Shelton. A big boot by Kane. And then Shelton Benjamin does not return to the ring, and he gets counted out. For this matchup, I gave it 2 stars. A wonky finish, but I guess they were trying to really protect Shelton here.
Yeah, I went 2 stars as well. So, we spent this time talking about Shelton, how he was going to, be a big player in the Rumble and how he was, looking to win. Do you happen to remember how long Shelton lasted in the Royal Rumble?
I do not remember.
He lasted a whopping 18 seconds in the match. Yeah, and I remember this. So he came in at number 17, and he hit he did like a thing where I guess Morrison and Miz were on the top rope, and then Shelton like leaped up top and hot shot at both of them, and then he gave, I think it was Punk the reverse bulldog. But then as soon as he's feeling good about himself, Shawn caught him with Sweet Chin Music and eliminated him. So Shelton ends up becoming, actually he had the quickest time in the Rumble at 18 seconds, and here's how how worse this looks. The next 2 guys, so I said he was 17. The next 2 guys after him were Jimmy Snuka and Rowdy Piper, 2 legends coming back, and they lasted longer than he did. So kind of a weak showing, very weak showing for Shelton, unfortunately. Kane, however, did have a good run in the Rumble. He actually made it to the Final 4 before getting eliminated by Batista and Triple H. So quite the dichotomy there. But yeah, the match itself was fine. Kind of a real clash of styles between these two, and I don't know if these two have ever fought each other before. I'm sure they have, maybe like on a random Raw or something, but they went, had some decent back and forth. That superplex that Shelton gave him off the top, I thought was really impressive.
Yeah.
And then he goes that, works the leg, and then Kane comes back as his power moves. But yeah, the ending is really weird. It's like, why would why would you have Shelton lose by countout? Like, I mean, wouldn't, if you're trying to build him up as, potential future, top guy, why not just give him a cheap win here? I mean, Kane can, take a loss like this, even if it's like by cheating or something. It just seems really counterproductive what we've done. Like, they spent all these weeks building Shelton up as this, potential top star for ECW. In the span of 2 days, you had him, look like a punk in the Rumble, and now you have him just get counted out like a bitch here. So, so I'm starting to get a little worried about what we're doing with Shelton.
Yeah, you could have had him put his feet on the ropes and use that for leverage, or even grab Kane's tights. And nope, they go with a countout victory by Kane. And Kane is like pissed. He's like, "Oh, come on," So Kane's staring in character, like he is like just mad that he wins by countout and doesn't get his hands on Shelton. Now we have Kelly versus Victoria. What was a great start? It's a wonky middle here. Well, again, because we're not ending with a match as our main event, it is Chavo Guerrero's mariachi band celebration as ECW, as he becomes the new ECW champion. So we had to do a lot of time cuts here. Hip toss by Kelly. Victoria throws Kelly. A head scissors by Kelly. Clotheslines to Victoria, and then a widow's peak for the win by Victoria. I gave it a star, but that's basically just for Victoria's performance, as she's still a dominating women's professional wrestler in WWE in 2008 too.
Yeah, I gave it 3/4 of a star. Not exactly sure why Victoria is even here. Like, after what happened the previous week, why is Kelly not fighting either Layla or Lena? I thought that's where they were going with it, but yeah, basic stuff here. Victoria dominates the match. Kelly gets a few shots in, but then she jobs to the Widow's Peak, and then Lena and Layla attack her again after the match, and then it looks like we've got this little 3-woman alliance here with Lena, Layla, and Victoria.
Yeah, and I also believe, Steve, that this is Victoria's last year with the WWE, as she will leave in around September or October of 2008. Might even last up until the first week of November too.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to track and see, because I know she's at WrestleMania 25 because she's in the Battle Royal, but then I think we don't see her again, at least on WWE pay-per-view, until her surprise appearance at the 2021 Rumble.
Yeah, so I bet you she asked for her release and left, and then they were like, "Can you come in as a surprise entrant?" As like a for this thing one-off here as a WrestleMania payoff, and then she was done there, and then she goes to Impact. But like you said, we'll have to keep track, how long she's on ECW, because I feel like she might have been pulling double duty as a part of SmackDown and ECW as well. So we'll see what happens there. Layla then shoves Kelly around, and then Victoria, Layla, and Lena Yada celebrate. So yeah, we're getting this girls alliance here, and Lena Yada and Layla both looking hachi-machi in the all black here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Colin Delaney is in the ring again with Taz. As Taz is like, "No, Colin, we got to show the fans, why you're still here and how you're still walking." He's like, No, Taz, we don't have to show them the beatings again. And Taz like, "Yeah, we do." So he shows them, and then Taz tells Colin, he's like, "Good news, you don't have to fight any big monsters here tonight. The bad news is you have to fight in a handicap match versus the WWE SmackDown tag team champions, which are The Miz and John Morrison. Running clothesline by Miz. Morrison misses, and then Colin throws Miz to the outside. Miz pulls Colin to the outside. Drop kick by Morrison. Flapjack to Colin. Reality check and a corkscrew neck breaker for the win. I gave this a half a star, Steve. And then Tommy Dreamer comes out to save Colin.
Well, it's Colin Delaney, so you know what my grade is. Another quarter star. Yeah, now
Hey,
Colin.
I went higher this time. Like, at least this time it looked like it lasted a little bit longer. So yeah, I went a half a star this time.
Yeah, Now Colin's got his head wrapped up to just add more tape, and Taz even calls him, says, he's not the mummy. He's just, he is who he is. And then like you said, he's like physically turning Delaney around so he can watch the video. And then another setup by Taz is like, you're not facing Giants, but you got to face two men, and they're the tag team champions. So, pretty much a clinic here by Miz and Morrison. It's funny, the one Morrison went for a charge, but Colin just like fell over and avoided him. He like didn't even actively get out of the way. He just fell away, and then he like at one point like pulls the top rope down so that Miz goes over the top to the floor. So that was like his only offense. And then Miz and Morrison finish him off at the end there. And I love Morrison pinning him with one finger, while Miz pins him with one foot. So good little domination there for the champs. And then Tommy comes out at the end to make the save. So it looks like we've talked about it, how they seem to be wanting to make Colin into like their modern day Mikey Whipwreck. Well, now Colin's got his own basically his Cactus Jack here in Tommy Dreamer. Yeah,
so we'll have to see where this Tommy Dreamer and Colin Delaney friendship will Tommy Dreamer make a man out of Colin Delaney, or will he just smack Colin Delaney around? It kind of reminds me of for that short time period when Terry Funk was training Johnny the Bull to face Vito in a hardcore matchup. He was just beating Johnny the Bull like week in and week out, and then they have a match, and Johnny the Bull like almost like blew out his knee. It was a very bad injury too, so he didn't get that match at Bash to the Beach 2000. So we'll see what happens between Colin Delaney and Tommy Dreamer here. Mm-hmm. Before we get into our next matchup, Joey Styles is going over already the No Way Out card a little bit here, as we have John Cena, who will not wait for WrestleMania for his WWE title shot. He's going to fight Randy Orton for the WWE title at No Way Out. And we have a 6-man Elimination Chamber matchup from Raw. It is Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho versus JBL versus Umaga versus Jeff Hardy versus Triple H for who will face Orton at WrestleMania, since now John Cena is facing Orton at No Way Out. I have to say that Elimination Chamber match looks very star-studded.
Yeah, well, first of all, that was really like a head scratcher that Cena would use his title shot at No Way Out instead of Mania. It does make you wonder how much of like a last-minute call for him being in the Rumble what actually was. And yeah, I mean, we talk about in the modern day, we talk about in the modern day, 2025, how, we had the recent Elimination Chamber with Cena, Drew, Seth, Punk, Priest, and Logan Paul as being very star-studded. This 08 one here, like you said, very star-studded as well, just like Triple H, Shawn, Jeff, Jericho, JBL. I mean, when you're only guy in the match, kind of lowest guy in the match is Umaga, and even he's not, he's pretty good at this point. I mean, that's a pretty stacked roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see who wins that matchup to fight Randy Orton too. I feel like getting a lot of people were actually cheering on for Jeff Hardy to win. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, because I mean, Jeff came close at the Rumble to beat Norton, so everyone thought he was going to finally get the moment here. But then he also had Triple H, who was the runner-up in the Rumble, so it seemed like it was probably going to be one of those two.
Yeah. So now we have CM Punk, and he is facing a returning Elijah Burke to ECW. We haven't seen Elijah Burke since almost since December of 2007. He in like, what was it that? No, yeah, it was like November, December-ish. So he's been off TV for like almost a month now. Hip toss by Punk, diving shoulder tackle by Burke. Punk goes into the post, running knee to Burke. Burke counters the Bulldog, but leaps right into the GTS by Punk for the win. I gave this matchup a 1.5 stars. We've seen this match way too many times, these two face off. It has been a while since Burke has been in the ring, so Burke is a little bit stale here versus Punk. And again, it was towards like the end of the show, so a little bit of a time constraint there. But Burke did not seem like the Burke we all knew and loved in 2007 here.
Yeah, I went a 1.5 stars as well. He was at the he was in the Royal Rumble 2 nights ago, but he was like in there for only like very little time. Like he came in, I think, at 28, and then he was like one of the guys eliminated by Triple H when he came out at 29. So he barely made a dent in that match. And yeah, just kind of coming out here out of nowhere. Like I said, at this point, he was just, he's been really ice cold. But to be honest, these two guys obviously still have very good chemistry. It's really quick though, 3.5 minutes, and the ending really kind of comes out of nowhere. Like you said, Burke blocks the Bulldog, but then he just leaps right into the GTS. So, just kind of a real quick finish. I mean, we'll obviously see why they had to go so quick because at first it's weird why Punk's even in this, not in the main event, but we'll obviously find out why later.
Mm-hmm. And then we have highlights of Edge versus Rey Mysterio from the Royal Rumble as Rey Mysterio was setting up Edge for the 619. Edge actually pulls Vicky in front of him to make it seem like, Vicky was trying to protect Edge from the 619. And that's what really drew Rey off because he's like, what are you doing, Vicky? And then Edge spears him for the win. So that's how Edge beat Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight to retain the World Heavyweight title at the Royal Rumble by Vicky taking the brunt of the 619. Mm-hmm. And now we have Kofi Kingston's second matchup. He is facing Rob Eccles. I thought it said Rob Echo, but I guess it was like Rob Eccles on the back of his shirt. Arm drag by Kofi, leg sweep by Kofi, crossbody to Eccles, a drop kick and leg drop by Kofi, followed by the buzzsaw kick, which will be the Trouble in Paradise. I don't say the buzz. I don't say the Trouble in Paradise because they don't say it yet on ECW that it's called the Trouble in Paradise. They just say that it's the buzzsaw kick. So Kofi gets the win here. I went A star on this one here. No offense at all by Eccles, but again, it's better for him not to do offense and make Kofi look good. That is what a jobber is really supposed to do.
Right, and I want a star as well. This was a much better showing than the previous week. Like you said, Kofi, I thought Kofi looked a lot better here. The jobber here, I thought it was just like Echoes was the way his last name was pronounced. But either way, he doesn't get any offense in. Kofi pretty much dominates him, and again, no real reaction for Kofi when he came out. They do start getting behind him a little bit when he gets to his finishing sequence there. They do give him a nice little pop, but he wins. So it is at least starting to come out. So it is going to be, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see when he gets the pop on his entrance. Yeah.
And when the fireworks, the booms start coming in as well.
Yeah.
Because, it won't be that long, actually. Because I actually do remember, when he actually, sadly to say, he goes to Raw real quickly as well. So, but again, we'll see what Kofi Kingston does in ECW here. A mariachi band and ECW general manager Armando Estrada are in the ring now, as it is now time for Chavo Guerrero's Fiesta celebration. Out comes Chavo. Estrada says that Edge and Vicky will not be here tonight, as Edge is home nursing Vicky back to health. Edge sends Chavo a recording. They congratulate him, and Edge shows a highlight package of Chavo's career in WWE, all this leading up to the ECW title victory. Chavo thanks Edge. Chavo tells the fans that he is the future of the WWE and Punk is not. Chavo says 2008 was his year to be a champion, and he is a champion again. The fiesta starts as the mariachi band starts playing and balloons come down from the ceiling. Then the conductor of the mariachi band is disguised as CM Punk. He hits, disguised as CM Punk. Yeah, CM Punk disguised himself as the mariachi band conductor, whacks Chavo over the head with a guitar. When I was like, how did they pull this off again? I was like, oh, I think Punk's one of the. I remember how they did it, but I was like, how did they get Punk in here? And I was like, oh, he's the one who just has his head down. I actually figured out, oh, that's Punk right there, because he had the tattoo in his in the back of his head too. That was like really shown. The hair was not covering up that tattoo he had. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I sure did. I was like, oh, that's Punk right there.
No, I didn't. Like, I get, I mean, he had to have his hair up because he didn't want to give it away. And it's funny because if you notice, they had they showed the mariachi band in the back, like right before the segment, and Punk wasn't among them. It wasn't until they were in the ring when we saw him, but yeah, very smart to have him like keep his back turned to the hard camera so you wouldn't know it was him. Yeah, just another kind of, like, again, Chavo trying to do like a big celebration. They had the video from Edge, where he says he's with Vicky after what happened at the Rumble, and then they do like a Chavo compilation, which, a lot of not many WCW moments for him, just modern day WWE, and Chavo saying he's the future, yeah, right. He's been around the business how long now? But then,
7 years. Yep, 7. Well, in WWE, 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, not counting his WCW stuff, but I mean, yeah, you get he dances and the band plays, and they have all the balloons and stuff come down, and that was actually a really cool moment there, having he like bumps into the guy, and then he just like the guy hits him over the head, and then that's when you realize it's Punk. And it's funny, you don't hear this moment talked a lot about when it comes to some of Punk's greatest moments. Like, I think this is a really fun, like, cool moment for him, because you don't usually expect something like that out of him, to like go in disguise and to infiltrate the celebration and then get like the last shot in on Chavo. So I thought it was definitely a cool moment. It kind of gives Punk some revenge after getting dicked around for the last few weeks. And it's pretty clear that we know, considering that, we had no ECW title match at the Rumble. In fact, both Punk and Chavo were in the match itself. In fact, Chavo eliminated Punk in the match. Yeah, so you knew that we're setting something up, that Punk's going to eventually get his rematch, and it's probably going to, you figure it's probably going to be at No Way Out.
Yeah. Two things about the, one is about the Punk in disguise. Kind of remind me of when Shawn Michaels dressed up as the cameraman in 2005 on SmackDown and attacked Kurt Angle with that fake mustache. That was hilarious. And then in the Chavo package, Bobby Heenan is talking about the Guerrero family, and I was wondering if that was dubbed over over Jim Ross's voice. So I was like, very weird to hear Bobby Heenan in 2008 on a WWE package.
Yeah, especially because it was Bobby, WCW Bobby. Which is why I thought it funny that they had his WCW Bobby, but then showing WCW clips of Chavo. So
Oh yeah, I was like, I didn't know that was WCW Bobby. I just thought it was I thought it was actually just a voiceover that Jim Ross said the line or something.
yeah, no, that was WCW Bobby.
Oh man, that's pretty funny too. Yeah. So again, Chavo gets hit with a guitar. Very Jeff Jarrett and esque here by CM Punk.
Yeah.
So that's how we leave ECW here. So the fans go home happy as Chavo gets smashed the guitar here. So what are your thoughts on? Well, yeah, like what's your thoughts on this episode here, Steve? Because we have Shelton Benjamin getting counted out. Victoria pins Kelly. The Colin Delaney segment, but again, he's forming up with Tom. He's forming a friendship with Tommy. Then we have Kofi Kingston not getting a great pop from the fans, but I thought he was very good with like the kids were like high fiving him and everything too. Like kids just want to high five the wrestlers all the time. And then we have CM Punk hitting Chavo with the guitar.
Yeah, it was a very haphazard episode, maybe. I mean, they've spent most of the episode, piping up that the celebration. So I think they just kind of went in there with, just let's get some other, let's just get some showcase guys on there like Kane, Shelton, Miz, Morrison, Kofi, get Punk in there for a win. So yeah, just a very weird, very interesting episode.
Mm. Yeah. Well, we'll have to see if Punk gets his rematch at No Way Out as we are building into that pay-per-view. And what's going to happen now with Colin Delaney and Kofi Kingston and Shelton Benjamin as ECW progresses into February of 2008. Well, that's going to do it from us here covering ECW. But Steve, do you have anything that you want to direct the listeners to?
Yeah, so you can usually find me over on the PTB Pop Experience with a couple shows I have there. The Video Jukebox Song of the Day, Making Mount Rushmore, and Pop Goes the Classics. That's me, Andy Atherton, and Miranda Berthold. We're going through all the Disney animated films. Our most recent episode, we talked Wreck-It Ralph, which is one of my favorite films of the modern era. So our next episode is, we've been anticipating our next one. It's going to be Frozen. So it's gonna be a big one. I'm looking forward to talking that film. You can also find me occasionally on the North-South Connection. I regularly contribute to Chronoso, and also appear occasionally on Ryan Gray's PLE previews. I do want to give everyone a shout out to make sure to go and subscribe to all of our YouTube channels. This feed, PTB Pop, North South, and the Backbone Wrestling feed. We all have our own YouTube channels. We're kind of backloading all of our back catalog onto those. Original content on there. All those guys do a lot of really good work over there, and then we could really use some love with your like I said, make sure to subscribe to those channels. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, I do subscribe to the YouTube channels, and I love all the content that you put out on the Pop feed with Making Mount Rushmore and everything. And I just actually listened to the Wreck-It Ralph just this afternoon, and it was a very good review. I like the world of video games too. I never even saw the movie, but I really like the reviews that you guys do over on Pop Goes the Classics. As for me, you can mostly find me on the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed right here. I have this podcast and also another podcast called Nation Invasion, where I cover the Invasion storyline in 2001 between the WWF and the Alliance. I just dropped another episode with Tim the Toolman Taylor, as we cover Raw from October 8th and SmackDown October 11th, 2001. On Raw, you had the return bout from Unforgiven, as it was Stone Cold versus Kurt Angle for the WWF title, and William Regal turns on the WWF and joins the Alliance. So Stone Cold is now your WWF champion. And on SmackDown, Mick Foley comes back as the WWF's new commissioner. He gives Rob Van Dam an opportunity of a lifetime, as RVD will now be in the main event at No Mercy 2001, as it will be a triple threat match for the WWF title. It will be Stone Cold versus Kurt Angle versus Rob Van Dam at No Mercy. So Mick Foley comes back and stirs things up and shakes things up for Rob Van Dam and the Alliance as well, because now Stone Cold is mad that an Alliance member can now take his WWF title away. So we'll have to see how everything pans out there. And on the Place to Be Nation pop feed, I have a podcast called Pop Goes Degrassi, where me and John Kesalika are covering Degrassi Next Generation. We just finished up the season two beginning episode series season premiere with Tim Capel. We had a guest. Tim Capel was our guest as we covered When Doves Cry parts 1 and 2. We are introduced to Craig Manning, and a returning character, Joey Jeremiah, comes back. We discuss Craig and his father's relationship, on how Craig's dad is abusing him, and it's Joey to the rescue. Also, we have JT trying to make Paige his girlfriend. So we'll see how all that comes together as season 2 kicks off. Well, that's going to do it from us here on Extreme Resurrection. I'm James Gruenberg. He's Steve Riddle, and we will see you next time.